Hi, it's Dan Gustafson for Wayzata.com. I'm here with Cathy Iverson, who is a candidate for running for Wayzata City Council. Cathy, thank you for having me into your home, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming to my house.
You bet.
Nice rainy weather. Just the place to be.
Right, exactly.
Inside.
Right. Yeah, exactly right. We had planned originally to be down at the beach, but it didn't work out.
Didn't work.
Yeah.
Not today.
Not today. Cathy, tell us a little bit, if you would, about yourself, how long you've been in Wayzata, your family, where you live, etc.
So my family and I have been in Wayzata for 18 years. I have two sons, 28 and a 14. So my oldest son Jeffrey has actually been through Wayzata High School.
Oh, okay.
And has graduated and is working, has an awesome job. And I have a freshman that just started high school. And my husband Seth actually works at the University of Minnesota. I fell in love with this old 1926 house the first time I drove by it.
When did you buy it?
18 years ago.
Okay, so you've been here a while.
Been here for a long time.
Oh, great.
Seen a lot of changes.
Tell us, if you would, Cathy, a little bit about your education and your background.
So I graduated from Montemita High School, so I grew up on the other side of town.
Okay.
I'm a White Bear Lake girl.
Sure.
So didn't really spend a lot of time in this side of the city, the west side. Went to school at St. Cloud State for a couple of years. Had to work full time while I was doing that, and I decided that it made more sense for me to work full time and go to school at night. So that's what I did. I moved out to Chicago in my early 20s.
Okay, sure.
And worked out there and finished up my BA in communications at a small school up in Evanston, Illinois.
Evanston, I know it well.
Yeah.
Very cool. And your employment, what do you do for work today?
I am self-employed, and I am an, excuse me, I got fighting a little cold, an interior designer.
Okay, great. And your government experience, talk to us a little bit about your government experience. You've got quite a bit.
A little bit. I've been on the Planning Commission for 7 years. I was chair for 2. I got involved, and I think if you've listened to the forum, there are friends of ours down at the end of the street always have bonfires. And that's when the Presbyterian home was being built.
Okay, sure.
And people would talk about this and that and this and that. And I said, well, if you're concerned, go talk to somebody at the city. And they said, it doesn't matter. Nobody listens to our issues. And that's when I decided to get off the curb and get involved. Never thought it would be that long, that I would still be there 7 years,
right,
which will get me to 9. But I think I have a calling, and I love it. I love the community, and I'm passionate about it, and I want to make sure that what we're doing is the right thing for everyone in our city.
And that's great, Cathy. Thank you. If people have questions or they have concerns or want to get a hold of you, how could they do so?
So you can just email me directly at Cathy Iverson, and it's Cathy with a C,
Yep.
001@gmail.com.
Okay, and we'll put that up on the screen so people can see it and that.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Please, if you have questions, I am always open to talking.
You touched on it lightly, but why did you tell us a little bit more about why you decided to run for council?
So people still, and more people, not just my neighborhood, which has gone through a lot of changes, are saying more than ever, it doesn't matter. Why should I go to the meetings? They're not going to hear my point of view. There wasn't that long ago, 10 years ago, 8 years ago, where the meetings were full. And it was awesome because you could hear both sides of an issue. Now, hardly anybody is there. In the 7 years that I've served...
Do you feel like that's because it just, why do you think that is? I mean, what is it about the change, or I guess what's changed over that period of time to make it so that people aren't going to those meetings as much?
I think transparency is an issue. I think that people want to know that decisions are not being made before these meetings occur. We have workshops now. I believe that the workshops should be filmed and taped so that people at home can watch them when it's convenient. A lot of projects come in front of the council before it goes to the public. And I personally don't believe that that process is correct. It is open to the public. I don't know exactly what notifications they get, but there's not a lot of people from the public coming.
Yep.
And I don't agree with that, because these are decisions that impact everybody in the community.
Yeah.
And they're generally larger projects that take more time to go through the process. And everybody should be a part of that process, the entire steps.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's fair enough. In your opinion and in your discussion with Wayzata stakeholders, what are the most pressing issues facing Wayzata today?
Density, traffic, the amount of condos being built. There's some controversy right now on the whole Lake Street.
Lake effect.
Yeah. Lake Street redevelopment. And again, I still hear people say to me when I'm knocking on doors, well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Where are you on the lake effect thing? You've mentioned it.
Well, I think there's pros and cons. And the thing I go back to was when we started this years ago, back in 14 or 15,
Yep.
that it was not going to be publicly funded and that it would be privately funded. I believe if that happens, I think it's going to be beautiful for Wayzata. What I want to make sure happens is that the residents of Wayzata still feel that they can go and walk down our streets and have space and not be overwhelmed by the amount of people coming to our town. I mean, I know it helps our businesses. It definitely helps our restaurants. What I really, really think that we need to also work on is our retail. We need to get the Regatta, the Presbyterian Homes, all those things filled. Because between restaurants and retail, I really think the city would be more vital. And I'd like to see some more of the residents live here year-round.
Interesting. What's your vision for the future of Wayzata as you look out in 5, 10, 20 years?
A lot of, I think, the things why people moved here has changed. And I've heard that when I've been out talking to people.
What are some of those things?
The quaintness of the town, the fact that the town was charming. I think we're losing more and more of that with the subdivisions that happen. And houses are being torn down and multiple houses are being put up. What I would like to do is to really look at these neighborhoods and look at the subdivision ordinances so that we can protect what's happening to our neighborhoods, because we can slow progress down. I'm a designer, so I'm not against change. I'm not against that. But I think we have to slow stuff down. We don't need to subdivide every single one of our neighborhoods and put 4 houses up where 1 or 2 was. I think that's going to completely change the character of this town forever.
Well, that dovetails right into my next question. You've almost already answered it, but I'm going to ask it anyway, Cathy. What do you think about the present direction of development and tourism?
I'm going to go again. It's progress. We live in a society where we are allowed to do that. Thank goodness. It's a good thing. I think we should slow the pace down just a little.
Okay. Residents in some areas have been calling for more transparency and more information on how tax dollars are spent. How would you respond?
Absolutely. It should be public information. So you should be able to just contact Jeffrey Dahl and ask for that information. I do know that the City Council currently goes through that, and they talk about it in their meetings. So if you have any very specific questions, feel free to contact the people at the city, and they will give you that information.
And they could contact you too.
And they can contact me.
Sure,
Yep.
sure.
Yep.
Okay, this is the tough question that we chuckled about before we started the camera rolling here.
I happened to see it by chance.
Right. What would you change about Wayzata if you could, and you didn't have to garner any support?
Okay, so when I saw that, I came up to you and I chuckled and I said, I think I already know my answer. One person as an individual is not that powerful. It's not just up to me, but it's up to everybody in the community to get together, to come to the meetings, to say what they want this community to look like. So me as an individual, I don't have that power.
Sure.
I don't.
Is there anything that you'd like to see changed in Wayzata? You personally?
I'd like to see the small retailers survive. I've been a small retailer, and it's really hard to make it. So whatever support, whatever we could do. The other thing that I would really love to see, a community center, indoor community center. I think an art center. So we have all this unused retail space. And something that I'm personally really, really passionate about, I'd love to have a place where people can go plant vegetables, a community garden.
Interesting.
Because I think that's a place where we can get multi-generations together, and it gives us an opportunity to teach our kids where our food comes from, what it takes to care for that food, and then how we harvest our food. And we eat so many tomatoes in the summer because I grow tons and tons of tomatoes.
Oh, you do?
Yep. And I give them to everybody in the neighborhood, and they wait every year to get my tomatoes.
What kind of tomatoes?
So I just do a variety. I do heirlooms, I do Fat Boys, I did yellow Fat Boys this year.
Oh, really? Okay.
And they were phenomenal. And then I did these black ones. Not quite what I thought they would be, but they were still fun to try. And then a lot of zucchini, and I zoodle that and share that with people.
What's a zoodle?
So it's a zucchini. It's a great big zucchini, and I cut it in half, and I have this machine that's a zoodler.
Okay.
And then you eat it just like you would pasta.
Oh, okay.
It's awesome.
I've never heard of it, but
Oh my gosh, well, you're getting some next year. You're on my list.
all right, okay.
So I really think having an awesome community center, because we have diversity in our community, would get everybody a chance to get together, and it just builds bonding and it builds relationships, and it's much like a church, so that when families are in need, people that spend time together know about each other and are willing to get together and help each other. Everybody wants to help.
You talking about a community center bigger than the proposed sailing school, or talk to me about how does your vision fit into their plans, or what's coming forward there?
So completely different than the sailing school.
Okay.
Because I think that's a really great place, especially for our youth. I mean, they need that as an avenue to kind of explore and grow and develop and test their limits as to what they can and can't do. So it's a great thing.
But this would be different than that.
This would be different. So this could be a place where people can go learn pottery, where people can go and do artwork, where people can go a little different than the library, but maybe there's times where there's seniors, which I hate to use that word because I'm getting closer to that.
Right.
Yeah, can go and interact with younger kids. And we could put a whole program together of what that looks like.
Sure.
And maybe that allows us to keep some of the history of Wayzata, because storytelling and understanding that is a great thing for our community.
Absolutely.
But what I would do is to bring people together to develop what they think a community center is. So not just me, but what other people are looking for, what they might feel is kind of lacking.
Sure.
As a means to get together with people. I don't know.
That's a great idea, Cathy, and hope you can be effective bringing that forward. So
I would love to, and especially an art center.
Yeah.
What a great way for people to be creative and stay active and give back. And there's so many great charities that you can donate your art to, and it can go to auctions and stuff.
Sure.
So again, for me, it's about getting people out of their houses.
Right.
And connecting with each other, which makes a really strong community.
Yeah. Well, Cathy, it's been a pleasure to talk with you, and I wish you luck in your campaign. And
Thank you.
Have a great rest of your night.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.